Okay, welcome back to session. I'm sharing my screen. Once you're able to see the PDF document, just say yes in chat box so that we can start the session. Okay, thanks. Yeah, we are talking about this general precautions. So the similar way as we see in no lubricant not supposed to be applied on the valves, and they should have identification, and also the color of the cylinders we are not supposed to alter. Then all the cylinders containing compressed gas must be properly closed to avoid the leakage. And if the leak is on the valve cannot be rectified by the tightening the gland or nut or any spindle, the cylinder shall be removed to an open space where the it is at least dangerous to life and property. Filler should not be informed shall be informed to the LPG cylinder, and the safety cap shall be fixed to arrest the leakage of the cylinder shall be moved to a open space. In the sense, in case of, we have to avoid the leaks to close the valves properly, but still there is a leakage again, so it has to be moved to an open space so it will get diluted in a safe manner. ఓకే, సో ఎప్పుడైతే మనకి ఈ జనరల్ ప్రికాషన్ అంటే ఒకటి లూబ్రికెంట్స్ అని ఆయిల్స్ కానీ వాటి మీద అప్లై చేయకూడదు. సెకండ్ వచ్చేసి వాల్వ్ అనేది ప్రాపర్గా క్లోజ్ చేయాలి. ఇన్ కేస్ వాల్వ్ క్లోజ్ చేసినా ఏమైనా లీకేజ్ ప్రాబ్లం ఉన్నప్పుడు ఆ సిలిండర్స్ని మనము ఓపెన్ స్పేస్లోకి తీసుకెళ్ళాలి. సో దట్ ఏంటంటే అది డేంజరస్ సిచ్యువేషన్ని క్రియేట్ చేయకుండా ఉంటుంది. అదే మనము రూమ్లోనే ఉండి అలాగే లీక్ అవుతూ ఉంటే ఏమవుతుందంటే ఆ క్వాంటిటీకి ఆ వేపర్ మిక్చర్ అనేది ఎక్కువైపోయి ఎక్స్ప్లోషన్ అయ్యేదానికి ఛాన్స్ ఉంది మనకి ఎప్పుడైనా ఇగ్నిషన్ సోర్స్ అనేది దానికి దొరికినప్పుడు. Then special precautions against the accidents. So what kind of precautions we are not supposed to take? No person shall commit or attempt to commit any act which may tend to cause fire and explosion is about to any place where the gas under pressure in a cylinder or stored, handled or transported. Like we have obligations of workers in Factors Act. So there we are talking about willingly or intentionally they are not supposed to commit to unoperate the cylinder or unoperate the safety related equipments. They should not do any bypassing of such things. It can create safety related issues, health related issues to himself or co-workers. అంటే ఏంటంటే అక్కడ ఫ్యాక్టరీస్ యాక్ట్లో అప్లికేషన్స్ ఉన్నట్టుగా ఏదైనా సేఫ్టీకి సంబంధించిన పరికరాలని కానీ హెల్త్కి సంబంధించిన పరికరాలను కానీ మనం ఇన్ఆపరేట్ అంటే బైపాస్ చేయటము లేదంటే వర్కింగ్ కండిషన్లో ఉన్న వాటిని పాడు చేయటము చేయకూడదు. సో సేమ్ వే ఇక్కడ కూడాను ఇక్కడ ఫైర్ కానీ ఎక్స్ప్లోషన్ అయ్యేదానికి అయ్యే పనులు మనం ఎప్పుడు కూడాను చేయకూడదు. Every person storing a compressed gas cylinder and every person in charge of or engaged in the storage, handling and transport of such gas cylinders shall be at the times compiled with the provision of these rules and also conditions of any licensing relating to the observe the all precautions for the prevention of accidents, prevent any person from committing any act referring to the sub rule 1. ఎవరైతే పర్సన్ ఓనర్ ఉన్నారో ఈ సిలిండర్స్ని హ్యాండిల్ చేయటము, స్టోర్ చేయటము, డిస్ట్రిబ్యూట్ చేయటము అలాంటివి చేస్తారో వాళ్ళు ఎప్పుడూ కూడాను దే షుడ్ బి చెక్ ఫర్ ఆల్ ది కండిషన్స్ విచ్ ఇన్ ద లైసెన్స్ విచ్ ఇస్ మెన్షన్, యాజ్ వెల్ యాజ్ దే హ్యావ్ టు చెక్ ఫర్ the causes which will leads to accidents and also prevent any person for committing such act. So unsafe actions which can lead to fire and explosion, వాటన్నింటిని కూడాను పరిశీలిస్తూ ఉండాలి. Then competent person to be a charge of operations. So every person holding or acting under a license granted under the rules shall, wherever the cylinders are filled, loaded, unloaded, examined, tested, depute a competent and also experienced person to be present and to conduct any of the said operations in accordance with the provisions of these rules, and also nature, qualification, experience of such personnel deputed in such shift shall be furnished to the chief controller or controller for considering filling permission around the clock. So a competent person should be there. How, like a safety officer in Factories Act and the supervisors as per the Factories Act. In this gas cylinders rules, we should have a competent person to monitor the all the activities like filling, loading, unloading, examining of those cylinders, and his experience, his qualification details has to be submitted to the chief controller. No, ఇక్కడైతే మనము ఫ్యాక్టరీస్ యాక్ట్లో డిప్యూటీ ఇన్స్పెక్టర్ ఫ్యాక్టరీస్ చీఫ్ ఇన్స్పెక్టర్ ఫ్యాక్టరీస్కి మనము ఈ సేఫ్టీ ఆఫీసర్ డీటెయిల్స్ అనేవి ఫర్నిష్ చేస్తాం, అంటే వాళ్ళకి సబ్మిట్ చేస్తాం. అదే ఇక్కడైతే చీఫ్ కంట్రోలర్కి మనం ఈ డీటెయిల్స్ అనేవి సబ్మిట్ చేయాలి. దెన్ హ్యాండ్లింగ్ అండ్ యూస్. ద సిలిండర్ షల్ బి అడిక్వేట్లీ సపోర్టెడ్ డ్యూరింగ్ హ్యాండ్లింగ్. సో హ్యాండ్లింగ్ చేసేటప్పుడు, యూస్ చేసేటప్పుడు దీన్ని ఎలా వాడాలి. The conveyors, trolleys, and cradles of adequate strength shall be, as far as possible, to be used when moving the cylinders, and the care shall be taken to avoid any damage to the cylinder valve. అంటే ఎప్పుడైతే వీటిని క్యారీ చేస్తున్నామో సఫిషియంట్ స్ట్రెంగ్త్ ఉన్న వాటిని యూజ్ చేయాలి. దాంతోపాటుగా సిలిండర్ వాల్వ్ అనేది డ్యామేజ్ అవ్వకుండా చూసుకోవాలి. బికాస్ ద సిలిండర్ వాల్వ్ ఈజ్ ది critical part in a cylinder. The cylinder shall be handled carefully and not to be allowed to fall upon one another, otherwise subjected to any undue shock. Which means we are not supposed to allow any cylinder to come in contact in a accidental manner. అంటే ఒకదానికొకటి బలంగా వచ్చి కొట్టుకోకూడదు. దే కాంట్ కమ్ టుగెదర్ అండ్ స్ట్రైక్ ఈచ్ అదర్, ఆర్ దే షుడ్ నాట్ ఫాల్ డైరెక్ట్లీ ఆన్ వన్ అదర్ సిలిండర్. సో దట్ డ్యూ టు దట్ షాక్ ఆర్ ద ఇంపాక్ట్ దేర్ మే బి ఏ ఛాన్స్ ఆఫ్ ద డ్యామేజ్ ఆఫ్ సిలిండర్ అండ్ ఆల్సో ద వాల్వ్. అంటే ఒకదానికొకటి గట్టిగా వచ్చి కొట్టుకోవడము, దే కాంట్ కమ్ అండ్ హిట్ ఈచ్ అదర్. స్లైడింగ్, డ్రాపింగ్ ఆర్ ప్లేయింగ్ విత్ ద సిలిండర్స్ ఈస్ ప్రొహిబిటెడ్. అంటే వదిలేయటము, డ్రాప్ చేయటము అండ్ సిలిండర్స్ తోటి ఆడుకోవడం, ఇట్ ఈస్ ప్రొహిబిటెడ్. We are not supposed to slide the cylinders and we are not supposed to drop the cylinders. This dropping of cylinders you will see with the LPG who comes with the delivery boys. So they used to drop the cylinders on road directly. That is also a serious unsafe act. If the valve is getting damaged or the valve is already in condition with that pressure, it may explode as well. The liquid petroleum gas cylinders and also cylinders containing LPG shall always be kept in a upright position and shall be so placed that they cannot be knocked over. సో ఈ సిలిండర్స్ ఎప్పుడు కూడాను మనకి అప్రైట్ పొజిషన్లో ఉండాలి. ఆల్వేస్ ద సిలిండర్ షుడ్ బి ఇన్ అప్రైట్ పొజిషన్, అంటే వర్టికల్ పొజిషన్లో స్టోర్ చేయాలి. వీఆర్ నాట్ సపోజ్ టు store in a horizontal or in a fallen position. Then open flame. Cylinders used in horizontal position shall be so secured that they cannot roll. So some kind of cylinders they used in horizontal position. In such cases, we have to protect those cylinders from rolling. The cylinder used in, or sorry, point number 7, the open flames, lights, and mobile phones, and lighting of fires and welding and smoking shall be prohibited in close proximity to the cylinder containing flammable gases. Uh, Expect those while in the use of welding, cutting, or heating. అంటే any flammable materials or things we are not supposed to bring near the storage of cylinders. And working places shall not be classified as store places for the purpose of licensing. So working place in the sense filling stations or other repair stations or workstations are not supposed to be declared as store. అంటే స్టోర్ని లేదంటే ఏదైనా ఒక పని ప్రదేశాన్ని లైసెన్స్ కోసం మనము స్టోరేజ్ లాగా చూపించకూడదు. ద స్టోరేజ్ షుడ్ బి డెడికేటెడ్. ఓకే. Then restrictions on filling. So what kind of restrictions? Welding cylinder shall not be used for filling any permanent or high pressure liquefiable gas like boron, trifluoride, carbonyl chloride, chlorine, trifluoride, carcinogen, or uh, kyanogen chloride, hydrogen, etc. etc. We are not supposed to do any welded cylinders to fill these gases. And the third one, no cylinder which has once been used for the storage of transportation of a coal gas, CO, compressed biogas, hydrogen or CNG, etc., and methane shall be used for filling with any other gas except a mixture of these gases with inert gases. In case if you want to use fill with any other gas mixture, it has to be done with the along with the inert gas. And no cylinder shall be filled with any gas that is capable of combining chemically, which may endanger its serviceability. Then loading and unloading. So if you see the loading unloading, the factors, the cylinders or cascade filling with any compressed gas shall be transported after duly compiling of provisions of the Schedule 6 and also observing the relevant provisions. Then, with respect to the storage, the cylinder shall be stored in a cool and dry, a well ventilated place under cover, away from boiler, open flames, steam, pipeline, or any potential sources, heat, and other place of storage shall be easily accessible. So, basically, it is supposed to be stored in a cool and ventilated area. Then it is not supposed to be stored near any boiler. Shall be a shed shall be of fire, or the place or location we are using should have fire resistant construction material. A thin wall cylinder shall such as LPG cylinder as a dissolved gas cylinder shall not be stacked in a horizontal position. ఏవైతే ఎల్పిజి సిలిండర్స్ ఉన్నాయో ఆల్సో డిజాల్వ్డ్ గ్యాస్ సిలిండర్స్ ఉన్నాయో వాటిని హారిజాంటల్ పొజిషన్లో పెట్టకూడదు, ఇప్పుడు కూడాను వర్టికల్ పొజిషన్లో ఉండాలి. దెన్ ద సిలిండర్స్ కంటైనింగ్ ఫ్లేమబుల్ గ్యాసెస్ Chief control of explosives. No, the department itself it is different only. So chief control of explosives department, it is completely different. Like how we have factories department, they have chief control of explosives. There is a dedicated department for that. The cylinder containing flammable gases and toxic gases shall be kept separated from each another, and also cylinders containing other types of gases may be adequate distance for any suitable portion of valve. So here it is the point coming with the comparability, sorry, compatibility. We are not supposed to store the flammable gas cylinders and also the toxic ones. So it will be generate another hazard if you, the fire cylinders which is involved with the toxic gases. So they should have separate distance and also a thinner wall to segregate separately. Cylinders shall not be stored under the conditions which will cause them to corrode, which means should stored in a dry place. And cylinders shall not be stored along with the any combustible materials. An empty cylinder shall be segregated from the filled one, and also care shall be taken that all the valves are tightly shut. So empty cylinders have to be separated from the full ones. Then the valve of the cylinder has to be closed properly. Okay. Then owner's records. What kind of records are supposed to be maintained by the owners? Or the owner of the cylinder shall be keep a record of all the for the life of each cylinder, containing the following information: one is cylinder manufacturer, specification number of the cylinder, then date and origin of the hydrostatic test when it is done, then cylinder manufacturer's test and inspection certificate, and also the number and also date of the letter of approve granted by the chief inspector for that particular cylinder. Okay, all these units has to be keep ready along with the owner of the cylinders. Then the importation of the cylinders or valves and LPG regulators. So if you see a license for import of gas cylinders, no person shall import any gas cylinder filled or intended to be filled, which means empty, with any compressed gas expected under in accordance with the conditions of the license granted under these rules. So until unless you didn't have a license to import, you are not supposed to bring any cylinders. No person shall import any valve and also LPG regulator intended to be fitted on the gas cylinders except under in accordance with the condition or approval or license granted these rules. So valve one is cylinders, other one is valves. అంటే సిలిండర్లు కానీ వాల్వ్లు లేదంటే రెగ్యులేటర్లు మనం ఇంట్లో ఎల్పిజి రెగ్యులేటర్ ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో వీటిని మనం ఇంపోర్ట్ చేయకూడదు అంటిల్ అన్లెస్ మన దగ్గర లైసెన్స్ లేకుండా. A person importing cylinder shall be have necessary infrastructure, handling, transportation, and also storage facility, including emergency action plan and also the qualified and trained technical manpower. So if you're unloading or you're importing any cylinders, you should have proper infrastructure to handle, and also you should have proper skilled manpower also to handle the cylinders. In further import of the cylinders filled with the compressed gas is exceeding the quantity expected under these rules of the rules license or to store the compressed gas in the cylinder granted in form F is obligatory. So if you are doing any exceeding the information or exceeding the quantities which you have mentioned over that you are doing, it is going to be a non-compliance as per the license. Then importation by sea. So you are doing import by over sea and ships through through water transportation. Declaration by the matter of ship or ship's agent, the master of every ship carrying cylinder filled with compressed gas for importation to India, the agent of such ship shall give, and also the converter of the port, not less than 48 hours notice of its intended arrival to the port. So before 48 hours the arrival to the port, we have to inform to the chief inspector of, sorry, control of explosives, so that they will come and do the necessary requirements. Okay. Then importation by land, again, no gas cylinder filled with any compressed gas or valve or LPG regulator shall be imported by land, save with the previous sanction in each case of the central government, and also under such conditions and also restriction as it may impose. Again, air, no cylinder filled with any compressed gas shall be imported by air, save with the previous sanction in case of any director general or civil aviation. Through air we are not supposed to import any gas cylinders. Then examination and testing, so periodically the examination testing of the cylinders has to be happened. No person shall fill any cylinder with any compressed gas unless the cylinder has been examined and also subjected to hydrostatic test or any hydrostatic test. Okay. The cylinder tested in stations approved by the chief controller shall have facilities for the evacuation of cylinders, neutralization, also scrubbing for toxic and also corrosive gas, and cylinder contamination. Then permission for cylinder testing station shall be initially be granted for a period of 1 year, which may be extended to a maximum of period of 10 years. So one is we should have a facility for all the evacuation, testing, etc. And also these cylinders will be used. They'll give license for 1 year and also maximum of 10 years. Then filling and position. If you see in the filling and position, what we have, no person shall fill any cylinder with a compressed gas, and no cylinder filled with the compressed gas shall be positioned any person except under, in accordance with the condition of the license granted under these rules. The license shall be responsible for all the operations connected with the filling and also position of the cylinder in the licensed premises. So until unless without a license, you are not supposed to store, and also you are not supposed to fill any cylinder. Now we'll see no license needed for the position in certain cases. One is the position of any cylinder filled with compressed gas by a carrier or any other person for the purpose of transport in accordance with the provisions of these rules. The position of cylinders own use or not meant for sale. One is position of cylinder for not own use, means like our LPG. For that, no license is required. You have the passbook, and position for the cylinder for the transportation purpose of transport in accordance with the provision of these rules. Then any flammable or non-toxic gases where the total number of cylinders containing such gas does not exceed 25 and the total weight of the gas not exceeding 200 kg. Any flammable and non-toxic up to 25 numbers altogether, it should not exceed 200 kg. To this content, you need not to have a license. అంటే 25 నంబర్స్ అంటే 25 నంబర్లు అంటే 25 సిలిండర్లు లేదా 25 సిలిండర్లు కలిసి కూడాను 200 కేజీలు. అంటే ఒక్కసారి 4 సిలిండర్లు కలిపి లేదంటే 5 సిలిండర్లు కలిపి అట్లా పెట్టినప్పుడు కూడాను ఓవరాల్ కండిషన్ ఏంటంటే if it is a number, it should not exceed 25, and also altogether as well, it is not supposed to exceed 200 kg. Non-flammable, non-toxic when total of such cylinder does not exceed 200 at a time. Then any toxic gas when the total quantity shell cylinder does not exceed 5 at a time. అంటే టాక్సిక్ అయితే 5, నాన్ టాక్సిక్ అయితే 200, ఫ్లేమబుల్ అయితే 25. Okay, these are the conditions the license is not required. Then restriction on filling. No person shall fill any cylinder with any compressed gas unless such cylinder, valve and fittings are approved type and standard or as per the rule and have passed examination and test and conform with the provision of rule number 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So the valve should be tested. It is in good condition. It has to be as per the standards which is made, and also it has to follow all these rules. Till the time we are not supposed to do a filling. No objection certificate. An applicant for a license in Form F for storage of flammable, toxic, corrosive gases for the purpose of sale, trading, and not for own use shall be applied, and the district authority with the 2 copies of site plan showing the location of the premises proposed to be licensed under these rules. So for no objection certificate, they will give in Form F. For that, what we have to give 2 copies of site plan and also location of the storage we are proposing. Then application of license in Form G for CNG dispensing stations. So CNG dispensing stations in the sense where we have CNG pumps, fuel stations, we fill for our cars and all. For them, they will give Form G. Then application of license. So any person intended to obtain renew a license or approval under these rules shall submit an application in writing to the chief inspector in Form B along with the following documents license prescribed, and Form C along with the following documents for licensing to get the renewal or new one. If you see the following documents, fee as per the Schedule 5, an application in Schedule 3, manufacturing cylinder, valve and LPG, then ISO accreditation, equivalent certification of any national international accepted, list of relevant code and specification of technical literature, then ownership proof, detailed report of manufacturing inspection, and design drawing scheme and also manufacturing testing of cylinder valves, etc. All these documents along with the Form B and Form C to get a renewal or license. So grant of license. When they do a license grant, once you have applied, they will, when the licensing authority grants a license in Form E, F, and G, after conducting an inspection of the premises, ensure the conformity of the premises provisions and also act and rules. The authority will endorse the license. From the date of such endorsement, the license shall be into force. So once the inspection is done, they have met all the requirements, then they will give a copy. From the date it is going to be in active. Period for which the license may be granted. So it will be granted for maximum of 1 year. in Form D for the import of the cylinder filled and intended for filling for the import license, and a license Form E, F, and G for the filling, storage, compressed gas, and also renewed under the this one for remain fourth till the 30th day of the September of year, and also to which the license is granted renewed subject to maximum of 10 years. For import, every year they have to do. For storage, license filling, and all, they can do up to maximum of 10 years. Then amendment and transfer. So any license or approval granted under these rules may be amended and transferred by the chief controller by authority. A fee of the amendment license shall be paid as per the Form 5. Then a license who has described have license amended shall be submitted to the chief controller. An application duly filled in Form B. In the license has to be granted in Form D and C, and the license has to be granted in Form E, F, and G. Okay. మనం ఎప్పుడైతే ఫామ్ బి ఫిల్ చేసేస్తామో దెన్ దే విల్ డూ అ ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ ఆఫ్ లైసెన్స్. The license sought to be amended together with the approved plans and attached to it. So in case of any amendment in the sense you are increasing the capacity. అంటే ఇంతకుముందు నా దగ్గర ఓన్లీ 30 సిలిండర్లు ఉన్నాయి, లేదంటే 100 సిలిండర్లు ఉన్నాయి, నేను 150కి వెళ్తున్నాను. సో దట్ ఈస్ అన్ అమెండ్మెంట్. ఆర్ యు ఆర్ డూయింగ్ ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ changes, so then you will do a amendment. Or your ownership has been changing, then you have to do a amendment. Then renewal of license. So a license approval may be renewed on the validity may be extended to the chief inspector controller a maximum period of 10 years, and where a license or approval which has been renewed for more than 1 year is surrendered before its expiry. So before you are going to renew, before expiry, you have to go and surrender the previous one to get the amendment. Okay. The renewal fee paid for the unexpired portion of this license shall be refunded to the license approved, and refund of renewal fee shall be made to the year for during the chief controller or receives renewal license for under surrender. Then no license or approval shall be renewed or revalidated if the application for the renewal or revalidation is received by the chief controller after 1 year of date of expiry. So if the license is get expired, you have to come before that, and prior to that you have to do renewal. If it is expired, it is within 1 year. After 1 year, he is not going to accept. The same fee shall be charged for the renewal or validity extension of the approval for every 12 months for the grant of the renewal and also validity extension. Okay. Then refusal or license approval. So when they will refuse, chief controller or controller refusing grant or amend, renew or transfer of the license or approval shall be communicate the reason therefore it is to the applicant. So whenever they refuse this, they definitely give the uh, reason for the refusing, why they are refused, all the detail they will give. Then suspension of cancellation of license. Every license under the approval granted these rules shall be liable to be suspended or cancelled by the order licensing authority for any contravention of the provisions of the act or rules. So whenever you are not meeting the requirements of these specific rules or license conditions, it will automatically get cancelled.